I pressed the button, which means we might be live right now. Who knows? I might be talking to an audience or just the two, and we're live. Keith, please.
Welcome to Keith and the Girl. I'm Keith Malley.
I'm Chemda.
Fantastic comic, and oddly, the first time on Keith and the Girl, Joe Kwaczala. Hello, Joe.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me.
Joe, I'm trying to get over the little insult that happened before the show started.
Sure, I know. Take your time. Process it as you need.
He says, do you need help saying my last name? This is after he goes, do you need me to record on my end? Like, what do you think we do over here, for God's sakes?
How dare I ask if you need any assistance? How dare I be considerate to you? You're right. I should be much more of a dick.
A, your friends can learn how to record on their own. They're lucky to have you. B, how frustrating is it when people, do you have to tell MCs like Kwaczala,
constantly. And I sympathize. I don't like roll my eyes like, oh, you need me to. It's weird. It's
weird that they don't ask you too. Like they just go for it, right?
Yeah, I mean, you'd be surprised, and I've caught people. I kind of can detect like, okay, we're about to go out and they have not asked me yet. And they've been
right.
like, oh, yeah, that's right. I have no idea. I would have gotten it wrong. And so I just, and recently I did a podcast and it was someone I know and have known for a while. And I didn't say anything because I didn't want to be insulting. And then they got it wrong. And I had to, sheepishly bring it up.
How do you bring it up?
I laugh and go like, well, I mean, we could keep it in, but, it is Kwaczala.
Okay.
But, whatever. Ha ha ha.
Right. Barely worth mentioning. My name is Kwaczala.
Right.
It's not even of note. I'm just going to throw it out there, Anyway, now talk about knowing me.
And I'm bad and who cares? And I shouldn't even be here. And I'm sorry, but my last name is pronounced a certain way.
It's my fault. Why would there be a C and a Z? It's my bad.
Who do I think I am? The Czech Republic?
I just love, though, the energy from Keith and Joe as a new person to the show and a new person to us as human beings. Mm-hmm. I get that you're a comic, but Keith has such nerves to just, and I do mean his steady nerves. It's unbelievable. I am like, Joe, you're new. How's your day? Like, oh, yeah, we have the spelling of your name. So glad you're here. Keith is like, why are you asking me that? And I'm like, Keith, does he know you? Does everybody know that you're joking?
We gotta
do.
This is how I pretend we're best friends right away, and then we trick him with the zingers, the gotchas, if you will. He is a comedy stand-up presents. Would you say the name of it is Catholic Priest Can't Sing?
That's how Comedy Central is titling it. They kind of got to title it in a clickbait way. I mean, it was when I did it, it was just an episode of Comedy Central Stand-Up Presents, but they've determined Catholic Priest Can't Sing might get some people to click on it. So I guess, they put that up recently. I shot that in 2019, but they recently they uploaded the full thing for people to watch on YouTube because they realized nobody knows how to watch it otherwise.
And you had, as a kid, to go to Catholic church. When you're at Catholic church, it's very stupid. Priest brag. My dad was a Catholic priest, and I couldn't imagine how insufferable he would be. Kenda knows him. How long those notes would
if they gave him a microphone. My God. Oh my God. How long is mass usually?
Right, about an hour. It would have been a day.
For sure.
You wouldn't be able to make the late night football game.
No, football.
Then I saw him as a regular church goer, of course. And he was the asshole. He's just one of us, a person, but he so misses being a priest that his voice was the last after every word song. Hey, amen, amen, man.
Has to have the last word.
Yeah,
a good word.
That's true. Yeah. By the way, that's so true about him. Do you still go to church?
I do not. Up until a few years ago, I would, with my family, go to Christmas Mass. And one of the things I would do is I would live tweet it. That would be our agreement, is if we're going to go, I'm making content out of it. And it got to a point where...
Wait, how did your family feel about this? Were
they were fine with it. I mean, I learned later in life that they were much more agnostic than I had been led to believe growing up. So they didn't really care. I mean, it's just kind of ritual tradition. They're not going to church every Sunday anymore, although we did growing up. Thank you, mom and dad, agnostics, not telling me until I was 30.
You know what? But I had a similar experience because my parents put me in yeshiva for 9 years. And that's a Jewish school where half your day is Jewish studies. The other half is the regular American curriculum. And I'm like, wow, we are so religious. And they were like, no, we just wanted you to be around Jews because we're not in our country. And I'm like, what? That's an
all that
school activity. What the fuck?
Unreal.
Right.
Unreal.
I want you to know about this so you can make up your mind later. By the way, this is grooming. You're a child and just let the man feed you. Then you can make up your own mind later. You're going to fall in love with him. But you bring up the point about, by the way, how unsanitary, right? The goblet and everybody drinks from the same side. And I was an altar boy. Church was so boring. I wanted to do something. And I took that little corner of the towel. You never changed it or folded it differently.
Same corner, wiping it down.
Same part of the goblet. If you had a fancy enough church to have wine, and everybody drank from it. Ugh. It's so disgusting. And
absolutely disgusting. And you make a good point that the people in charge of the sanitation are children.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they've got a towel. They're not, they don't do the dishes at home, but suddenly they are tasked with making sure that this goblet we're drinking out of stays clean. And you got a real long towel. You just use the one corner and you don't even cinch it down a little bit. Just everybody's getting the same germs.
Oh, I didn't know that. And some churches don't have booze?
So some don't. Some only give crackers. Some give a piece of bread. Sometimes they give wine. Our church didn't have wine every Sunday, but for Christmas and Easter, it's a real fucking treat.
What did they give? Juice?
Just not wine.
Just nothing. You just wouldn't have a drink. You just have the dry cracker, and you have to chase it down with your own saliva in the pew.
What about the blood? What about the blood? You're not getting the blood of Christ?
Blood is not represented that week.
Oh.
The blood may be with us next week. Tune in. That keeps them coming.
Deep down, you got to assume there's a little blood and bones in the cracker.
You're hoping if it's a true representation of the body, then it's got to have some blood in there. It's a big part of the body.
Blood, it's balls and everything.
Believe it.
You know what? I forgot. We have this in the Jewish tradition on Friday night. My father would bless over a cup of wine, and you usually have to fill it up so much that it overflows a little bit, and he'd bless it, take a sip, and pass it around. Now, we're family, but if we had guests over, you were still passing it around. So I guess we also have a tradition of passing around a cup.
I asked my dad, what if the priest doesn't drink?
How did booze get such fucking good PR? And we have to have it in our churches. We have to bless it. We have to share it. This is like booze. It's not water.
Yeah.
It's not hydrating.
You got a new boat, got to get some booze if you want to christen that thing. Like, booze is showing up. Booze got a great publicist.
Hey, try getting married without booze. Everyone will hate you. Meanwhile, it's the thing that killed your uncle, that is killing you slowly. You're suspecting poison. Your father. Yeah, it's lit.
It is poison, and it has the best PR of all time, going back centuries.
Even though on people's toe tags it says "died of booze," let's celebrate. The fuck? In that guy's funeral, there might be booze.
The reception,
because that was his favorite shit.
Well, I asked my dad, what if the priest...
One more thing. We pour booze on wounds to kill the wound. That's how
to kill the germs, right?
All right.
I asked my dad, what if the priest doesn't drink? And he's like, nope, it has to be wine. I'm like, oh, interesting, Dad.
Why? Because that kills the negative things. Like does the
it kills the sins.
It kills the sins. Like the sweetness of the berry is for your holy what's the opposite of sins?
Blessings.
Good deeds. And then the alcohol part kills the sins. Is that how the soul works?
I don't think there's any, you're really generous in terms of giving them some sort of rhyme or reason to what they do. You just at church, you just do the thing, and you want explanation. No, there's no time for that. We got to keep moving.
Kevin is the dork talking to the priest after church. Okay, weirdos. We get to go home now,
right? Man, once that last song starts, Like you get one verse in, you get to the chorus, and then it was, oh, boom, get out of there as fast as you can.
Yeah, when you get to the chorus of the last song, it's the check spot.
100%. Yeah.
You're getting your purse, you're getting the fuck out of there.
Do people during the last song, do they like a sports event where, you know, it's like clearly one team wins and everyone starts leaving the stands? Does that happen, or do they wait until the end?
Some
I
leave.
think it's some people. I think the more like pious, sanctimonious people they're gonna stay till the end of the song. But there was just kind of an agreement amongst some of us, which is unwritten but very funny, that like, okay, you get a little bit of that song, but once that song starts, you're picking up your stuff, you're zipping up your jacket. It's go time soon, and you better get to that parking lot because you don't want to get stuck.
I try to speed up the tempo. Our God is an awesome God. He reigns from heaven above. and thinking about, you know, we take the bread from the priest, we suck on the same chalice. It's now making me think of my dad. You know, when he was no longer priest, after he had us, he had this ritual. I've never fucking heard of it. I don't see it on Google, and you can Google anything. You know, you can Google, repeat what I just typed, and it comes back. I can't find anything about this, but we had a tradition every New Year that he put honey on his thumb, did the mark of the cross on our forehead. The honey represents, may you have a sweet year. Then he put it in minced garlic, the thumb, and that represented the struggles that we're going to fight through. And we sucked it off his thumb. And there's something where all this is connected. And the face you're making, Joe, is my brother Ken. I was talking about this. He's like, we didn't suck the thumb. I'm like, no, what do we do? He scraped it with our teeth. I'm like, God,
that might be worse.
Get help.
I've never heard of that in my life. And you're right.
Never.
That seems like a family issue.
But it's funny. It has to do with I have to feed you. Like he misses feeding people in church. So he's got to feed us, I guess. I don't know.
So he figured out an off-brand way to
right.
do some of the same ritual.
He didn't help mom with dinner and us learning the fork. But, you know, you got to eat something off these guys' hands. They love it.
They can't get enough. They're jonesing for it. They leave the church. It's like, you know, I got to get my fix.
Right.
Well, I never did I ask you, would he feed himself garlic and put honey on?
Probably, yeah, and he just sucked his thumb like a baby. Like, I really got into it. We wouldn't have the power to do it to him, so yeah, he'd have to do it himself. He probably looked in the mirror and was like, "God, you're gorgeous."
And your mom opted out of this, right?
Yeah, she had work to do downstairs.
Even though it would make the most sense that she would suck anything off his tongue.
Right.
Yeah,
maybe it doesn't matter what word you meant. Yeah,
in front of the kids.
Right.
Later.
That's for night. When the door's shut, you don't knock. We knew that. And when he brings honey and garlic into the bedroom,
it's on.
You turn the TV. Then you can turn the TV louder than 35.
I can picture your dad trying to have sex but missing the priesthood, and your mom like is in the room going like, "Oh, you were so sexy today," and he goes, "And also with you."
I am now going to go down on you. You will fake it, and I will act like I made it.
I will go down on your thighs because it's too much to do more.
Oh, Hemda went to synagogue. You had too many notes in that one. He also has the stand-up special recommended based on your search history. I love the title alone.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
You were in a Capital One commercial with Derek Jeter, and tell me if I'm remembering this right. It's the cool white guy, and he's going, joining Capital One is as easy as one of the easiest decisions, kind of like this. It'll cut to something funny. I have no idea what I'm alluding to. And this time it cuts to like just regular nobody's playing baseball, and they go, Derek, and they point to you. Or no, Derek, and you stand up like, oh, I get to hit next. It's like, not you. And then Derek Jeter stands up and of course knocks it out of the park. How long does something like that take, first of all?
Oh, okay. Yeah. So it is, this was shot in the spring, summer of last year. The most time you spend doing this, especially back then, you take a COVID test for the fitting, you do the fitting, then you take a COVID test for the shoot itself. All that stuff took way more time than the few hours because if seen the commercial, there's basically one setup. They're not moving the camera around a bunch. It's just kind of at the dugout. And also they're not gonna waste Derek Jeter's time.
Right.
And so he's in and out pretty fast. And so
did you watch his part?
Oh yeah. I mean, like, I'm sitting next to him.
Right.
I don't know, Hollywood.
Yeah. I mean, people asked me that. They were like, was he actually physically there? Was he like, because they could have green screened him in, he's famous enough. But no, he showed up. He was very nice, very professional, did not have an attitude to him. And, we sit next to each other at the dugout in this commercial. And so he comes in, he does his stuff. There's some direction. He takes the direction, and we knock it out fast. I've been on commercial sets that took way longer, but this was a pretty efficient one.
You think he ever thinks for a second, like, it'll be a funny commercial, but is it coming off rude to these other actors that I'm with? Like, do you guys all get the joke? I'm the fucking greatest.
I think he gets to be the greatest in this sense.
No, I get it. I'm just curious.
I bet he doesn't think about that.
Right.
All.
That's the point.
Again, not to say I thought he was rude at all. I thought he was extremely friendly. He went out of his way to like fist bump all the background actors and everybody on set. He like gave each of them like a little bit of time, which I thought was like, I bet a lot of athletes would not go that extra mile to just kind of like acknowledge everybody. And,
it's so interesting that we want sort of need somebody on that caliber to fist bump us and whatever, but it's actually inappropriate. Did you do that? I mean, it's appropriate because it's him and now you feel special and whatever, but in order to do that, he has to know that he's special, that it would be a thing to fist bump everybody, because you're not going around doing that. Like, hey, I just want you to know we're all the same. And, okay.
I went around and I went, hi, yes, I know, it's a pleasure to meet me. Shaking everybody's hand. They were getting very upset.
He said,
isn't that basically what you're saying as a celebrity? And, we all understand you're going like, I know that you're going to be talking about me, not Capital One, not your time as a commercial, not how much you're making. You're going to talk about how I was. So here's a fist bump. And
it's a rarefied air. Like, a very few people know that they can do that and get away with it. And they have to do it, on some level. And he is definitely in that status. It's like I've heard stories before about like Jeremy Renner like crashing somebody's wedding and be like, I'm here, you're gonna love it. It's like when Tom Hanks does it and everybody's just kind of like, we're trying to have a wedding, man.
Yeah.
Did the fist bump start because you said to Derek, do you need to know how to spell my last name?
Absolutely.
For your friends and stuff.
Yeah. I said, I know you don't I'm playing a character here, but you're gonna, when you recall this story later, you're going to need to know that. So do you need help?
when you get picked to be the real actor in that scene, other than Derek, is it at all offensive? Because obviously they're saying you're a schlub.
Oh, I mean, I knew that going in. I think it probably usually that stuff happens when you get what's called a breakdown, right? When you get the commercial audition, it says what they're looking for, usually to help you, dress the part or look a certain way. And yeah, obviously they were looking for somebody that wasn't very athletic. It wasn't a believable slugger.
How insulting is the description? Is it like, beard would be good, long hair would be good, and you're a man who believes he still has it?
Yeah, you are over the hill. Athletics was never an option for you, but you're delusional enough that you're still showing up to the games.
At best, you're Al Bundy. Yeah. All right, see you at 3.
Exactly. And you know what? I'll take it. That commercial has run 2 years in a row, which is has been very good for me. So
what do you wear for the audition? What do you wear for the audition for being?
I think that one in particular, they had said wear a baseball tee. And so I had one of those in my closet. And so that's what I wore. And I let my face and head do the rest.
What brought in, if I can ask, more money? A 30-second Capital One commercial or one of your stand-up albums that Comedy Central produces, let's say?
Far and away.
Wow.
I mean, I would say doing a special on TV for Comedy Central before Comedy Central, pivoted kind of away from televised stand-up. That was a good amount of money, but I have never made more money in my life than this commercial.
Do you feel you owe it to be a Capital One member?
Instead of that,
they owe it to him.
Right. I need a second form ID, and you pull out the Chase card and you're fired.
What I do instead is I make sure to get in a lot of FaceTime at the Capital One Cafe. I show up, I shake hands, and I ask people if they need help pronouncing my last name.
And I ask everybody what's in their wallet. Hopefully somebody overhears me.
Yeah, oddly not as charming when you're asking them in person and they don't know you when you're asking what's in your wallet. And you're doing it frantically and holding their shoulders. People don't respond as well, but
and the new album, Funny Songs and Sketches. This is fantastic, and that's what it is, obviously, funny songs and sketches. You're a real singer. Like this isn't a joke.
Well,
no, you are. Do you do don't waste my time. You are. Do you do or have thought about non-parody songs? These are funny because they are good.
Thank you. No, I mean, like, so,
that was a compliment. I'm so glad you picked up on that. Asshole. Yeah, you 100%. Do a good job. Do you get it? Fuckface.
No, this isn't a therapy session. I'm telling you.
I found the compliment in there and I'll take it. But no, I mean, comedy, that's been the dream the whole time. It's like, if I can make the songs funny and I can do it in a comedic context, that's in line with my goals. Doing anything beyond that, you never like to see that with a comedian, because it's happened a few times. You see Dane Cook put out a serious song. I never works, and it's never a good look.
Right.
Yeah, but that's his brand. Never worked. Never a good look.
Not a good look, right? Yeah. Oh my God, is there a wrinkle on your what?
Oh, Dane, you're gorgeous. Gorgeous. I mean, if I was 20,
you'd be married to him.
You'd be his type.
I do want to go through this album a little bit. Not to put you on the spot, but can I add the first track, Unless? Mm-hmm. Can I put that on the end of this?
Please,
this episode.
Absolutely. And if you'd like the file, I know it's available places, but if you need it, just
no, I'll pay. Of course. Thank you.
Keith doesn't need your help. Hello.
You're really pissing me off today.
Yeah, I'm insulting you again. Keep trying to assist you.
The gist being, I will, love you to the day I die, unless you die first. And then I can picture dating somebody named Callista, or would she go by Celeste? Okay, so now I'm calling her Celeste, and we live in the woods, blah, blah, blah. And that goes on. Unless it's so good. The second track was Attention All Rideshare Drivers. And it really felt like a real ad. And I'm like, no, I pay for Apple Music. And it's like, attention, are you an Uber driver? And the point being, it's about one specific passenger that's a fuck
you
up.
You deserve compensation if you've driven Jeff Chambuli, who's a real butthead.
But yeah, and so to jump ahead for a second, the final...
while you're looking for things, Keith, wouldn't it be fun to see what Keith is looking at and looking through? Because he has a file on your stand-up.
Ooh, look at that. Yeah.
Isn't that fun?
A dossier.
Yeah. Those are notes. Like, he can hand that in.
I was going to say the final track, What's That Again podcast. And you're following a very uninteresting. It's a podcast that's it's like true crime almost, like jovial, but true crime. And they're going to get to the bottom of who is this woman on Instagram that does nothing interesting at all. And the point being, well, she's fucking hot. That's what it is. So I'm listening to this. By the way, okay, so first of all, I'm listening to this. Then I get bzz, bzz, bzz on my phone. And I'm like, this guy's clever. Where the fuck is this going? It was a test of the National Wireless Emergency Alert System. I'm like, okay, there's so much going on.
That was not me.
I had no idea.
That was the powers that be trying to give you 5G, so you can, if you have the vaccine, you can get Marburg syndrome, I believe is what happened there.
There's some famous names that I hear, some famous voices. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Yeah. I was very lucky to get some friends and acquaintances in the comedy world and the acting world to lend their voices. And I was, beyond grateful that they made the time for me.
Drop some names.
So we're talking, Patton Oswalt, David Cross, Al Madrigal, Iowa Debris from The Bear in every movie this summer.
We were just talking about her. Okay.
Yeah, she's amazing, and was very kind to lend her voice. Andy Richter, James Austin Johnson, who plays Trump on SNL, Sarah Sherman, also from SNL. Yeah, just a lot of really great, funny people who, after I hounded them enough, relented and appeared on my album.
Do I sound old when I say I do miss CDs? I miss the physical album, and now, and if you had the physical album, people would see you have these names, which is exciting.
Yeah,
now it's just tacky to write on the graphic.
Right. I just mocked up a back cover for a thing that does not exist because I wanted people to see that like there were some very fun people who were involved. But yeah, I would really love maybe in the future if I could get a limited vinyl run or something just so I could have it, just like give it to my friends or whatever. But
Agreed.
Like to have that physical thing is so cool.
Yeah, I have physical things of I do a stand-up show once a year, and I have those physical copies, except when everything went digital, and I kind of want to make fake physical copies of the other ones, but
that makes sense.
It's fun and proud to see.
Absolutely.
The track Daiquiri City.
Mm-hmm.
And he has to get medicine for his dog, and the dog becomes too powerful, etc.
Yeah, but the premise being that it's a Jimmy Buffett style song where a guy's hanging out and relaxing. He's got his dog with him. He's feeding his dog popcorn shrimp, and then it takes a turn because he has to take his dog to the hospital, and then it just becomes about taking great pains to monitor your dog's health while you're surrounded by paradise.
And the music is so good, and there's timpani, there's everything. It sounds like. And obviously reminiscent of Margaritaville. It'd be funny if somebody brings up Margaritaville and you're like, what? Huh? When you're done with this, and then I assume the timing is Jimmy Buffett really does die. Do you think, oh, fuck, because these parrot heads, they go a little fucking, they're into it. Were you worried it was going to seem offensive in any way?
Given that I think you can tell that there's some love put into the music.
Right.
And the fact that the content of the song is not about like, I think parrot heads are stupid, or I think Jimmy Buffett is overrated, or whatever I could have done with that song. It's just kind of a separate subject. And the music itself is a style parody, like an homage. I figured if anyone heard it, they would think like, oh, okay, this comes from a place of admiration.
I agree, but nobody complains, right?
I've had no issues thus far, but we've got time.
I like the track.
Hoping, right? That's fun.
Hoping, right? The director Q&A. This guy comes out. I mean, this whole album's great. This guy comes out and he's like, "You'll notice I didn't shake your hand. I don't want to get canceled." Why did you go from comedies to dramas? Oh, because you can't make comedies anymore. You can't. Obviously, this is a play on these weird comics acting like, what can we do? What is it like in your day to day? Like, do you, in real life doing stand up, do you see this and it's like, oh, I have to placate this guy because we're in the green room together, what we can and can't do? How dumb is this fucking movement?
I mean, I find myself not intersecting too often with those types. It does happen. And I always try to push back because I do think it's ridiculous, this idea that you can't say anything anymore. And they're usually comics who want to say slurs, and I'm like, that's your battle? That's what you're like? Okay, I'm so sorry. Go to Austin.
Right.
Okay. I like that.
We have a special town for you.
But what's funny is usually when they're talking about that, they're on a monologue or a microphone or both. It's like, what can I say? It's like, you're saying this on an album that I bought. So I get anything you want.
You have a platform and 100,000 Patreon subscribers. I feel like your voice is being heard.
Yeah.
Will anybody let me talk? in the song I Wonder, big band, swing sound, that's great. And it's about wondering because you took too much acid, obviously, and why my finger snakes, this kind of thing. Have you really tripped on acid? Because these are some good questions you bring up.
Oh, thanks.
If a woman takes off the dress, does the dress still exist?
Right, exactly. She's got a little teddy bear. Was it ripped from its mother's womb? You know, the kind of paranoid, frantic things you might think if you're having a bad trip, right? All set to a Sinatra style song. I would honestly love to do acid. The furthest I've gone is mushrooms, which I enjoy quite a bit. And now in California, like you can kind of almost legally just get a really nicely packaged chocolate with the squares as its dosage with the mushrooms. And it's I mean,
it's really nice.
What a world.
So are you not taking acid because it's not really dosed and you don't really know? Or is there some sort of history in your background that could set off some?
It's never been the right place, right time for me in acid. That's truly it. Like if I was
setting, motherfuckers.
Yeah. Also, you got to talk to people to get it.
Yeah, exactly. And I've always been a like there's drugs around, okay, but I've never been the guy to retrieve.
Right. Again, at the end of this show, I'll play the song Unless, but the album, you do want to hear it for sure. Funny songs and sketches. Speaking of comics,
sorry, hold on. Sorry, 1 second.
Yes.
I want to put my glasses on because I want to make sure I'm reading this right. Ryan V, who love you, Ryan. You're here all the time, and I love it. Your comments are great, except for the one that you said, I'm not getting the new vaccine, the new boost, because the other ones didn't work because I got COVID. Okay, we're going to put that on the side, except we're going to bring it up again because you just said no such thing as too much acid. Haha. Bad trips don't come from the amount you take. They come from inside you. I swear to God.
Oh,
Ryan,
my
pick
God.
a side. Pick a fucking side, Ryan, about drugs. Holy shit. Holy shit. Does acid work, but the booster doesn't? Holy shit. Okay. All right. Thank you. And Ryan, good to see you. Hope you're having a nice day.
Pete Davidson banged up another car. He got into another car accident.
Oh.
He was leaving a comedy show at the Wiltern in LA. Before this, he entered a 18th month diversion program following a reckless driving charge. Reckless driving, he crashed into a fucking house. This time he hosted an after party for the show. Davidson was in the driver's seat, another man in the passenger seat, 3 people in the back.
Hold on. You got to go to rehab because you drive bad? I feel like that's like, oh, I said weird racist shit because I took a half a glass of wine with my Xanax last night and it kind of fucked with me.
You're saying crashing a car in a house should be a bigger deal?
Well, I'm saying if you're going to rehab for 1.5 years for driving, I didn't hear the full story.
The king of Staten Island star and his now ex-girlfriend crashed into a Beverly Hills home in March. Reports surfaced that Davidson lost control after he hit a fire hydrant while traveling at, quote, a high rate of speed. Around 11 p.m., nobody was hurt. In July, he was ordered to complete 50 hours of community service. This guy has a problem with cars. And I did see The King of Staten Island, and supposedly it's based on real experiences in his life. I know the tattoos are real. In the movie, I think it starts to show like he's out of control, doesn't really respect life, and he closes his eyes when he drives. And he said that he used to really do that. Is everybody asking him to do it? Because like, hey, I want to do it when I'm in the car with you,
like in the movie.
Yeah, do that. Close your eyes. Ah, shit, another fire hydrant. So remember how long it took me to get my license? This fucking guy. Fire hydrants, houses, cars. I didn't have enough. You don't have enough proof of insurance, but this guy's on the road somehow. Or proof of ID. Yeah. Okay.
You should get more tattoos to identify you when you're at the DMV.
Right. I should find like a tattoo sleeve. I'm like, does this count for something?
Doesn't it sound, and are we just not saying it because it's so stupid to say? It sounds like some sort of drug or
I guess
alcohol issue
I have
when
to
you're
guess.
driving?
I have to guess.
Sadly, yeah, and it's this is obviously a guy who's struggled with that, and it makes you feel bad, and maybe not, but it's hard
maybe not
to
because
things,
not because when you're not doing that, you're taking other thrills, and so maybe
it's also
that's
a possibility.
Yeah, I don't know.
You're trying to feed something within your personality that needs that thrill. You're right. So I mean, we could speculate, but it's not good. Don't love it. And listen, I'm in LA. I got to keep my eyes and ears open. This guy's he's out here. Well, he's a threat. I drive. I know about the Wiltern.
I'm reading a story here in Sao Paulo, Brazil. A futsal team. Futsal is like soccer, but smaller, and it's done on a basketball court. There was a women's volleyball team happened to be playing at this court. Male students from the futsal team. I really fucked up that story.
Wait, what? Wait.
Okay, so there's a women's volleyball is playing on basically a basketball court. These guys that play soccer on a basketball court were watching. After the team won, the women won the volleyball championship, the players stormed the court, took with their dicks out, and started masturbating in celebration.
Did it say in celebration?
It says perform a group masturbation celebration.
Perform a group celebration masturbation?
Yes.
Where was this?
What is this?
Sao Paulo, Brazil.
In Brazil. Okay.
Oh.
You can't do it there either, though, to be clear.
I don't know what they do in Brazil.
Yeah, they also don't. They frown upon that.
Yeah.
It's a different culture, but still.
I know their barbershops are weird, right? The half-naked group of students paraded around the gym, touching their genitalia as those in the stands looked on in disgust. 6 students have been expelled this week from the school, but they weren't named. The school says we definitely don't like this type of behavior. They have a 0% tolerance policy, by the way.
They definitely don't
when
like
it comes
it.
to masturbating on the fields. A disgusting, unacceptable episode. There's even more to this. The behavior of young people who are at the university who intend to be doctors and take care of people. These guys they're in sports, but they're in college to be doctors.
And they're like, what? It's our anatomy.
Right.
I have a lot of questions.
It's unacceptable for future doctors to act in such a disrespectful and for women in civility, said some idiot. You can't be a doctor ever after you do that. Like, what are you doing to my body when I go under? Like, that is so fucking ballsy. There's never mind expelled from the school for what? A couple were expelled this week. You're expelled you're on a sex list.
Yeah.
And you should never be able to be a doctor ever. And hopefully other countries can find you on the internet.
Maybe a caveat on your door as a doctor that says, I celebrate with my dick out. If you're cool with that, come in. Because you don't know. Your doctor might get excited. I cured your cancer. Let's fucking take it out. Let's go.
We did it.
Yeah, you were great. Go ahead and take out yours, whatever.
My God. And so this must have been, obviously this was planned. I don't think this was a spur of the moment. Like they all ran out. They knew that they were going to do this.
Yes.
A bunch of people. Right. At no point someone was like, hey, I had a interesting idea, but let's maybe review what exactly we think is going to happen. And what do we think is going to come from this? Are they going to be like, oh, the boys are here. Hooray. Look how happy they are.
Right.
Like, how does this, what is their best case scenario?
Here's what I think. Okay. So they're sitting in the stands, right? They're watching this, right?
Yes.
So they're like, how long is this? I don't know, but she's making my dick hard. For real? She's making my dick hard. I think they should know that our dicks are hard because we look like we're bored. But like, if I was them, I'd be like, I hope their dicks are hard at least because we're just doing boring volleyball. Here's what I think. I think at the end, we should celebrate with our dicks out because whatever happens, win or lose, that's going to elevate the situation. I haven't met one person who doesn't want to see my dick. My mother wanted to see my dick my whole life. She changed my diaper. It was nice. So as far as I know, women love seeing dicks. Let's do this.
I have to assume any country, it costs to be a doctor. So, I assume you're one of these privileged assholes that we see in TV and movies that the family covers up for you all the time. And you forget what you can and can't get away with. And you thought it'd be okay to be in a group of 6 people and start whacking it. And were they going to do it if the team lost though? Because you ever see like a football game and it's a blowout, but the losing team makes a touchdown, they do a dance. It's like, what are you dancing for? You look like an idiot. Would they still have done it? I'm curious.
Maybe it would have been a solemn circle jerk.
Right. Good. It peters out.
Heads hanging low out of respect, but still cranking one out.
They just flick it with their fingers, instead of full solid strokes.
Did anyone take video of this? And also, does it deter anybody? People with penises out there, this is a question for you. Does it deter you when people have disgusted faces on them? Or are you like, 5 more seconds of this and I got you. You know, because like I
challenge.
remember
I'm not
Guy,
a mind reader.
maybe that's your sex face. I don't know. But Family Guy would be, you know, somebody would fall and it'd be like, ow, ow. And then it would go
Right.
on for too long. And it's like, all right, we get it, ow. And then it would go on for super too long and we're back to laughing again. Is that what they mean when they take their dick out?
You'll see. And
This is gonna get good.
Yeah. Wait till you see the ending. Hold on. Wait
Hang
for
tight.
it.
Yeah, I've got something in store for you that's really gonna give you a surprise.
And at some point they go, damn, usually I'm faster, but hold on, this is worth it for me anyway.
I guarantee not only will they still be able to be doctors, when you go into one of the doctor's offices, he's a sports doctor. On his wall is that volleyball team winning. And it's his little joke.
Oh my God.
Terrible. And the fact that they can perform like all of them, I'm curious actually to the level of
Hardness.
which ones were like, yeah, really like the people leading the charge were the ones who are really hard. And then the other ones are kind of like, I'm going along with this, but I prefer my privacy in these moments, but I'm giving it the old college try.
I wonder if the harder ones should be sentenced to more because it's like, why are you so comfortable?
It was your idea, right? The hard ones, it was their idea.
Why is this so
100%.
okay? Why are you still good?
Yeah, it almost seems like the circumstances are what's making you hard, and that
Right. Yes. Yes. I feel like you're giving up some information here.
There was video, by the way, but it's all blurry. Like you have to believe the news story, but there was video.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It'd be surprising if no one had a camera out during that.
Chemda just had her, it was your 7-year anniversary of your open heart surgery.
Thank you. And yes, I plan on taking credit for it again.
Well, the doctor said you did a great job. I'm like, well, I was
Right?
under you unzipped my chest like a zipper, and I guess I did fucking great. How about I pay you only though? How about I don't get a percentage? So is it every year now you have to get a CAT scan or something?
Yeah, at the beginning it was every 6 months, and it's so gross. And I faint when they put the IV in sometimes because I don't know, it's just too much. So I warn them now ahead of time. So this time now I do it annually. And the guy called, it's a regular guy, his name is Danny. He's like, it's Danny, it's time for your CAT scan. I'm like, for real? He's like, yeah, every 6 months. And I go, gotcha. I do every year. Call me back in 6 months. And he's like, oh, actually, it's been a year. And I go, are you just making that? Are you? I'm going to check. I'm not going to check. I have no idea. So I guess it's been a year. I go, all right, Danny, if you say so. Great. Okay. And then he goes, I'm scheduling your CAT scan at this time. A week later, I want you to see the doctor because I haven't met the new doctor. The surgeon that I usually work with is not there. So I'm like, all right, but you get one of these because I don't see why I have to meet the surgeon. Usually they tell me on the phone, I don't have to wait for results, which as you can imagine are very nerve-wracking. And now I'm waiting for a week. Not only that, you have to come in a half an hour early because you wait for the doctor doesn't wait for you, right? His hands are amazing. Anyway, so there's a process. You go in, I check in and I go, I'll be back. I'm going to go get coffee because I know this is going to take a while. And they're like, yeah, it will. Go ahead and get coffee. So I go to Starbucks. I get myself a little treat. I come back. They call my name. I have this so well timed. Call me if you want to know about how to be in a patient waiting room. Bananas. All right. So the first thing you do is you see the person who takes your blood pressure, who asks you how much you weigh. You lie. You tell them it's the truth. I mean,
Donald Trump. Okay, we'll write that down.
You know what? I don't even say yes. They go, are you still this weight? And I go, that sounds right. And they're like, good enough.
Right.
I don't know. But it doesn't. I thought at first that I would need to be weighed because the surgery will be different or the treatment will be different. As soon as I realized, no, I'm like, I'm my ideal weight. What do you care? Shut up.
Right. I just got the COVID shot and the flu shot, but it didn't go by BMI. You know, my tiny girlfriend gets this exact same shot.
The same dose, right?
Yeah.
So as soon as I figured that out, I'm like, you don't need to know. Mind your business. You opened me up while I was naked. That's all you get. Okay. So she's coming in. And it's always a different person. And they always think they're the nicest people. And here's what I got this time. Like, how's your day? I'm like, how are you doing? I'm like, doing well, thank you. And I'm the patient. So doing well is very good. So, and I go, how are you doing? And she sincerely answers. And I'm like, dude, I'm about to find, I'm about to find out if I have to have more surgery or I have to have more, like, I'm only here for the doctor to tell me if I'm clear or not. But no, tell me about your day. I go, how are you? She goes, I am tired. I'm like,
No
"Here we
shit.
go. Okay.
Fuck off.
Here we go.
Right.
Here we go.
How come that's not in nurses training? I've never had a nurse that wasn't fucking tired and I didn't know it from her eyes. She tells me. They always tell me.
Well, she's in nursing school, so maybe they didn't tell her yet.
Didn't get to that class yet.
So she goes, I'm tired because after this, and she told me her whole schedule. She goes to sleep at midnight. She gets out at midnight because she has the whole day being here at the doctor's office. She gets out at 4:30. She's got to go straight to school, and she's in there until nighttime. She only gets home around midnight. And I go, wow, how do you manage that? And she goes, I don't know, because I am so tired. And I'm like, no, please, why don't you?
I'm half dizzy now. Anyway, give me your arm.
Right.
Yeah, it's crazy. Is this true? I read this somewhere that the difference between a nurse and a doctor is when they ask you how your day is, you don't say you're tired, and boom, doctor.
Mm-hmm. That's officially the test.
I just don't know in what job you get to go, I'm tired.
Right.
Okay. Sure. I mean, a McDonald's employee can tell me that, but I don't know. So, okay. Get done with that. Now, you go through like one or two people and then you get to see your doctor, but you're still waiting. The doctor always comes with somebody else. And I'm not sure if that's like, so he's not liable or because these surgeons are really top level surgeons. So maybe they don't know how to talk human. And I'm all right with that. And I don't think they do know how to talk human. I'm, of course, nervous because although I think like how much tumor could have grown in 1 year, I'm still thinking I don't want to deal with it if it does.
Well, honestly, this is a weird comparison, but I have to imagine, Joe, when you knew you didn't have COVID, but you landed the commercial and they give you a COVID test, you're probably still nervous. Like, oh, God, no. What if?
Right.
Fuck.
And
right?
I know people who that has happened where at the last second they test positive and they lose a job.
Damn.
Fuck. Yeah. Yeah. So you guys know what a tumor is like. Absolutely.
I remember getting, I didn't have sex till I was 18, but there's some kind of STD test. I don't know if it was mandatory or what. I don't know. But I took it and I'm like, I was nervous. I had something. Yeah. I didn't fuck anything, but I was still nervous.
Yeah.
Are you kidding? I was in a same-sex relationship for years. I was always afraid that when you go to the doctor as a female-bodied person, they ask you if you could be pregnant. And I always thought about, wait, could I?
Right.
No, I don't think these parts make that. But okay, I still have to think about it because I'm always in that head. Anyway, okay, so the doctor comes in and he's like, how are you? Of course, whatever. I'm like, okay. Oh, wait. First, the nurse before comes in, pulls up my CAT scan and leaves. Now I'm staring at a CAT scan. You bet your ass I was Googling what does a CAT scan look like of the chest?
Normal CAT scan.
Right. That's what and I compared it. And I'm like, okay, good thing they go to school because I don't know even this. And then I was like, maybe this is wrong to leave the CAT scan up for me to stare at. But I went back to my Zen. I'm like meditating because they make you wait a long time. And I don't want to get in my head about it. The doctor comes in. One of his first questions is, are you having trouble breathing? And I'm like, oh, fuck. And I go, no. And I'm like, wait, actually, sometimes, during COVID, I was wheezing a lot. And then every here and again, maybe when the weather changes or when it's humid out or something, I do have some wheezing in me. And he's like, so because what I'm showing here, I'm like, oh my God. He's like, well, when they did your surgery, and I go, what? That was 7 years ago. I'm going to get new information now. Fuck. So 7 years ago, when they did the surgery, what happened was the tumor was so big that I'm like, you mean my frozen diaphragm? And they're like, almost a relief on his face. And I'm like, you think they didn't tell me I have a frozen fucking diaphragm? So he goes, yeah. So if you have trouble breathing, we could do a surgery on that. And I'm like, is it on the CAT scan saying I have trouble? Can you just, and he goes, and I'm looking at your
and then
CAT
you ever
scan.
think about your breathing? Like, I don't think I'm doing it right now.
Right. Right. I'm like, does the wheezing count? I don't, I am wheezing out of nowhere sometimes. And they did warn me I might run out of breath, and we will have to take care of it. So I'm like, how much wheezing is wheezing enough? Well, what are you seeing on the chart? And he goes, I looked at your CAT scan. And I go, here we go. And it's clear. But anyway, and I go, oh, that's really good news. And I stop them and I go, that's really good news. I look at both of them and they both take it down and go, right, that is good news. You are clear. And they come back to earth. And I'm like, thank you. That's nice to hear. You may proceed. And they were pretty much done. I couldn't fucking believe it. I'm sitting here. Just start with clear. Anyway, these are my thoughts of the day. Then you could tell me how tired you are. You could tell me about your day, your night, your problems at home. I don't care. Tell me if I'm clear first, for fuck's sake. So that's all I needed to know.
By the way, they are, of course, they don't know how to speak English.
Oof.
Alun, of all people, from MASH, he started a company that trains people how to explain what scientists are up to, because scientists are weirdos too and don't know how to talk human. So they're like the middle person, like a spokesperson,
Makes
if you
sense.
will.
That's good. That's a good service.
I remember I'm in the hospital, unrelated. They say somebody's going around. They're like, do you want a free HIV test? I'm like, yeah, sure. I'm here. I'm taking all this blood. Why not? The next day, I'm in the hospital for a couple of days. The next day, and again, unrelated, the doctor comes back. This doctor comes back with these results, closes my curtain in the room. One sits down on the bed, one is standing up, and they say, so I have your results. Do you have a support group or somebody you can talk to? I'm like, fuck out of here, HIV. And I go, yeah, I'll talk to somebody, I guess, sure.
What if I say no? What happens?
Right. Are you suicidal if you got bad information? I go, no. And then, it feels like a minute. And finally they go, okay, it's negative. I'm like, I don't know what positive and negative means.
Right.
What the fuck?
Tell me I'm okay.
Do I have HIV?
Or
and they're
I'm
like,
dying.
no, you don't have it. I'm like, what was all this shit? Oh, it's just protocol. We have to check. Check what? Why? I don't need to talk to anybody, and I don't have to worry about being suicidal.
You really wanted HIV.
Am I unpunked?
It's been your dream as a kid to have HIV, and
oh my God,
real bummer.
Yeah. So that was basically the end of my visit. Then they left and I'm, getting my shit together and I go, oh shit, right. I meant to ask for an inhaler. I had one, it expired and it's been years and I thought I didn't need it, but I'm like, well, if I'm wheezing, I should use an inhaler or at least ask him about it, right? Since he's asking me if I could breathe. So I'm asking around, where is this guy? That same nurse that came in with him was like, what do you need? And I'm like, well, I thought I'd talk to him about prescribing an inhaler because mine, blah, blah, whatever. She comes back like a second later and she goes, he's the surgeon. Why don't you ask your PCP for that? And I was like, what? I go, oh, all right. I didn't know, I thought since he was at, and then I was like, why am I describing? Okay, thank you. I'll do that. But it was so, he's next level. I'm like, he has a prescription pad. Fuck off. And he's not the one calling it in either. Don't act like I insulted his intelligence.
Right.
I get how smart of a human being I'm talking to. He's the one who could look at the scan and tell me if I'm okay or not. Apparently, you can't Google it. I get it. Anyway, I'm all clear. Thank you, everybody.
All right. Congrats.
Good. Congratulations.
Congrats. So, of course, at the end of the show, I'm going to play that song, Unless. And also, what else? Let's remind people real quick. Of course, you can check out the Comedy Central Stand Up Presents. That's fun. You can listen to Recommended based on your search history. And the album that I really got into in today's show is, of course, Funny Songs and Sketches. And you will be very pleased. Anything else they should know, Joe?
I also, if you like the sketches on the album, I do a lot of sketches, just video sketches that you can find on my YouTube or, I put them on Instagram and TikTok and wherever. So, the sketch album was kind of an extension of the many video sketches I've made. So those are out there. I have a ton of stuff for people to watch and listen to if they are bored.
You have a couple records, right? Like meaning you put out like 30 some videos a day. That made news.
Yeah, so I did 31 videos all in one day a few years back. Then I did 21, and then this album release, in a sense, it's the same concept, putting a bunch of stuff out at once. Only it's in album form, the way a normal person would do it.
Right. Very nice meeting you, Joe. Thanks a lot. Let me mention this. Keith and the Girl VIP, of course. We just did an episode with Newsy, and it says it's called 136 Clear.
Oh,
that's interesting. This episode of the pod starts out a little serious. Life happens when we have to talk about it, and we have to talk about it. Then we discuss helping, dating, clowning, the army, movies, anger, and accents. Rod Morrow, who does our wrap-up show, says, "Man, that is so sad to hear about Emmy. I knew she was always kind of hated the show," in quotes, even when she was on the show, but I didn't know shit got that bad and didn't know the interns had linked up into hating the show. This is why we come to Q&A, because heartbreak feels good in a place like this. Amen. Joe, very nice meeting you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you guys so much for having me. I had a blast.
Hamda's going to close. Stick around for a second, but Hamda's going to close up.
Mimi says, I hate IV because I have tiny veins. Me too. Oh, I forgot to say this while I was about to get stuck with the needle. There was only one person there, but then a couple of people came in because they were looking for somebody's key card that they lost. Now they're taking a break from my shit and looking for things. And it was, anyway, I do have tiny veins also. So they have to get my hand sometimes, which is so disgusting.
The hand is gross.
It's so gross to even think about. Let's see. I've heard he goes to rehab where they give him K. All right. So those are random thoughts that people had, and you guys put them together for where they go into the show. And that's how